Firstly, I would like to thank everyone over here who has come and would like to welcome you to the pitch. My name is Vakas Rumani. Alright, I'm an avid gamer. My gaming tag is Wacky Virus. I'm sure most of you here who are present would love gaming. In fact, surveys state that every third Indian, both men and women, actually love gaming. I myself was introduced to gaming during my teenage. So in those times, I was introduced to a Nintendo console and used to have cartridges where we used to actually put it and we used to play the games. One of the most popular games in that time was Super Mario Bros. And I'm pretty sure a few of you would have definitely heard about it. Now, fast forward 2013, in my corporate career, I realized during a casual conversation with a friend of mine that there was no option for anyone to actually enjoy console gaming in a good environment. This is where the idea for my particular business came up. Now, you all must have heard over the last 2 years, gaming industry in India has boomed a lot, not just in terms of growth or the revenue, in terms of the investment. To give you the facts, from 2014 to 2020, the Indian gaming industry saw investments of around $350 million. In 2020, the year of the pandemic, they actually saw investments of $550 million. And last year, it saw a huge growth. We had more than $1.6 billion of investments from VCs and private investors. Also, over the next 3 years, it is expected that the investment is going to go upwards of $11 billion in the industry. Now, gaming has a separate part also to itself. One is esports. Globally, PC and console gamers, they actually earn a lot. Some of them earn even more than what IPL players in cricket in India earn. To give you an example, last year there was a tournament of Dota 2. The winners of the tournament earned a total of 137 crore rupees. Each individual earned more than 27 crore rupees. And if you compare that with the IPL, the maximum earning that CSK got last year for winning the IPL was 20 crore for the entire team in terms of cash prize. So that huge it is. Unfortunately, when it comes to Indians, our representation in this is very limited. The primary reason is accessibility to hardware and gaming. Now, the point is less than 3% of the population in India can actually afford a gaming console, and less than 0.5% of the population actually owns one. So that's where the entire problem arises. And it is primarily because of the high cost of ownership. This is the problem my idea solves by making console gaming accessible and affordable to everyone across India. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Base-1 Gaming and Esports. So what are we exactly? We are going to be a premium chain of esports arenas that are going to be focused on console gaming, making it accessible and affordable to people across India. Now, there is a background to this. Like I said, the idea popped up in my mind in 2013. So I have the experience of running such arenas. And just to give a gist of how it looks like, these are some pictures regarding the same. So this is the kind of participation you see at the arena. Now, what are the problems that we are looking to solve? Like I said, consoles are not exactly affordable for every Indian in India. What we do is providing the option to enjoy that particular experience at the fraction of a price. That is the primary problem that we solve. And how we go about it? We go about by launching cafes across the country for avid gamers. But these cafes will be solely based on console gaming. We provide streaming facilities for gamers to create content across the country in those cafes itself. Usually what happens, many of the creators, they actually start off with the mobile platform. But as they grow, they then move it once they have finances to actually work on a PC or a console. So we are providing this option to the creators across the country at our cafes. We'll be charging them on an hourly basis, and that's how we'll be earning our revenue. Along with this, we are also going to be conducting esports tournaments across various platforms, both PC, console, as well as mobiles. Now, if you have to look at a SWOT analysis for this, the strengths, the concept is unique. In India, currently, the only players who are there in the market, they're basically providing PC gaming with a limited option to console. There's nobody which solely focuses on console gaming. The industry is expanding exponentially. In fact, this year, esports is a medal event at Asian Games, which is bound to give a big boost to the industry. Also, there's a high demand for this market. People obviously always crave to actually move from mobile gaming to consoles. But the only reason is the high entry barriers, so they don't go across. Other advantages, I have an experience in this particular industry, which actually gives me the base to take this forward. Currently, since there is nobody, I get the first mover advantage. Now, if I talk about the opportunities in verticals, which I said in phase 2, creating the base here, which actually gives us a solid platform to go into different verticals. You can go into accessories, you can go into tournaments, you get revenues from ads, you get revenues from brand partnerships in tournaments, as well as when streaming content, you actually provide them services to tweak and edit the videos. So all these options and revenue avenues open up. If I have to talk of the weakness and the threats we have, the weakness is obviously, since I'm starting off with this, the brand equity for the brand is going to be very limited. So it is going to be taking some time to actually build it up. But this is true for any business which starts up. As for the threats, normally when the business flourishes or succeeds, you have people who tend to copy it. So this is bound to happen in every particular business. Now, if I have to talk about the competitors, like I said, particularly for this particular business, there is nobody in the market. However, there are PC gaming categories and competitors, and some of them which are well known are LXG, Arcanemesis, Elite, and Circle Gaming. Now, LXG and Arcanemesis have a similar model, but then the problem with their model is they are basically not scalable. Elite and Circle Gaming have a different model, and we'll actually talk about it in the next part. So if I do a competitor analysis, now Base-1 focuses on console gamings. So that is what we are going to go with streaming facilities. When it comes to Circle Gaming, the Circle Gaming has an advantage over LXG in terms that the investment cost for Circle Gaming is low. That particular model has a low investment cost. However, their basically major part of the sales is made up from accessory sales for revenues. When it comes to the operating profit, this is somewhere that almost every gaming cafe struggles to an extent. LXG, on the other hand, has a very high initial investment cost. They can only be done in metros, and they're also in limited spaces. You cannot run the model everywhere for the pure reason that the initial cost of investment is very high. Compared to this, we actually have a better advantage. Since it is console based and it can be set up anywhere, the initial cost of investment is low. That is a big advantage we have. When it comes to scalability and demand, the demand is anyway there across India. Now, if I look at the market currently for gaming worldwide is more than $200 billion. The SAM which we have, and if I'm only considering the Indian market, we can actually grow this particular model into Southeast Asia as well as Middle East, and there is demand for this over there. It is upwards of $10 billion. The sum for us, even if we achieve around 10 to 15%, since we are actually moving first ahead with this in the Indian market, we have a very good advantage of at least capturing 15% of the market. Now, if I look at the requirement, all right, since this is an idea part, we are only looking at 3 months ahead because the product and everything has to be ready and then it has to move forward. The funding amount that we are looking at is around 22 lakhs. And this is the valuation. For valuation, I'll actually prefer StartupLanes to actually help with this. They will actually tell you how it has come up with. If I look at the traction, based on the projections and what we expect, on an average, your unique customers who are going to come to every outlet are around 650. And the total revenue with the franchise outlets and the number of operators just to the gaming operations is expected to go upwards of 3 CR. This is for the entire year, first year of launch. If I talk about the KPIs, now gaming is a category which actually, like cricket, does not need an invite. That's why the CAC, the cost of acquisition for this particular industry, is very low. It's hardly 10 rupees. That is also basic event-based promotions if you need to do. On an average, you have customers coming on a regular basis. And during my 6 years of experience, what I've actually observed, that a cycle, a customer basically weans out of the industry because they may have that they continuously keep coming and enjoying the experience. This is why we have a very high ratio of CAC to LTV. And when it comes to the industry currently is going at an annual rate of 46%, both in the gaming part as well as the esports segment. Now, a bit about me. So I am an MBA marketing graduate from 2011. I have around 12 years of experience, which is spread across media ad sales and partnerships. In the last two firms I was working, I was heading the media ad sales and partnerships. I also have 7 years of experience of running my own business in esports and gaming. Also, I do own a restaurant franchise of 99 Pancakes, which I actually own in Navi Mumbai, Kharghar. And currently, I am heading the meta search business for one of the largest travel tech firms in the MENA region. Now, this is primarily what we are looking at. So what I told you was the revenue and the operating model of how it will work. The vision of the company is to make it into a gaming and esports lifestyle company. So when I say lifestyle, we actually expand into different verticals. Since I actually am connected with different people in the hospitality industry, since I had the meta search business, I know there is a demand for this particular segment in hotels. I know there is a demand for this in resorts. So we actually, when it comes to that, that is an option for us to go into phase 2. And just to give a gist how phase 2 can look like. So these are some pictures which are actually, these are 3D models which have been created. And this is exactly a property which we are going to be pitching during the later phase of the way. This is another concept where since we are going into lifestyle later on, and this is something that we plan to do ahead. Again, this is another aspect which I believe is going to boom a big time. Primarily because if you guys must have listened to the budget of our FM this year, she actually dedicated a task force creation to regulate and framework the gaming industry along with the animation and comics industry. And this is one of the things they actually expect to introduce this in schools sometime later. So whoever jumps into this first is going to get a big advantage. These are some of the factors that we are looking at. And at the end of it, there are other revenue models also. Like along with this, you have a food services or model which actually works with this. The revenue which I've mentioned actually excludes that particular aspect. I've not gone into it. The other part which is there is for the tournaments aspect. I've again not gone into it. Okay, the revenue projections right now for the first part, what we are actually basing it on is purely on the gaming operations. This is it from my side. I hope you guys like what I've actually shown you. And I know this is something very lucrative, which I believe when you guys come into this, you'll actually really admire the decision you have taken. And I would like to close this and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vakas. This is Shishir.
Hello, Mr. Shishir.
First of all, we have a house full.
Okay, 100. That's good to hear.
Yeah, we invited only 100 investors, total 100 participated. Would you like to share your projections?
Yes, I would love to share it.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, since we are actually pitching this in the idea stage, and we are actually looking at funding for the next 3 months so that the product is ready and the revenue is generated. This is going to start with creating stores and outlets. So it's going to start with creating a single store, and the revenue will start in the month of April. So the operating expenses, which come from basically the rentals, the deposit, along with that, we'll be creating a website as well as an app, and we'll be doing promotions for the particular outlet. Usually, this is going to cost approximately, when it comes to operating expenses, everything is approximately what you see over here, 1,06,000. The website charges, I've been splitting them in terms of every month, the annual AWS charges and how the monthly expense plus the development cost. So all that is included in this. And the store setup costs. Now, on an average, a store takes around 13 to 14 lakhs in current market because of the current values of the consoles. But later on, it is expected once the supply chain actually eases out, it will actually go down further. So for the first 3 months, these are the numbers that we are looking at in terms of expenses and in terms of revenue. So once the first store outlet is ready, we can actually push forward for franchising and getting multiple outlets on board. So if you guys have any queries on this and would like to take it for, I would actually love to explain it. If I have to add a bit further over here, what you see here is the number of outlets. So we have actually taken a projection of how many outlets we are going to, how many franchises we are going to onboard, the fee what we are going to get, and the revenue we expect from them.
So Ashish Ajmani has a question.
Yes, please tell me.
Hi, Shishir, and hi, Mr. Beautiful presentation. Hi, Vikas.
Yes.
My only question is, your expenses included franchisee. You said that the 3 CR revenue model, which you have envisioned in the first year, includes the franchisee also. So I don't know how much franchisee revenue you'll be getting the first year,
Mhm.
but I would have a series of questions. If Shishir, we can get the this particular business model sheet, and
Mhm.
then certainly we can have a series of questions over mail. I think that would be more making sense to me.
Fine, we can do that. And whenever Mr. She's also available, we can actually discuss and actually I can clear it to you.
First question is how much time you think a customer will be spending on an average per month in your this studio?
So this varies. Normally, on an average, you normally see around 10 to 15 hours a month minimum. That is the spend. So when somebody comes, the minimum chargeable time frame is an hour. And on an average, when they come on a day, they'll actually spend 2 to 3 hours. You don't expect them to come on a daily basis. They come maybe twice or thrice a week. But on an average, a customer will spend at least 10 to 15 hours in a month, and it can go upwards.
Okay, and what kind of subscription plan are you thinking about? It will be a random purchase of ticket sort of thing or a kind of periodic membership?
Ideally speaking, I do not actually push for a subscription plan. The point is, when it comes to the actual cost when they're paying, subscription plan actually gives them a very lump sum value. So when they're actually coming to play over there, if you actually provide that, they might get cheaper rates per hour, but the lump sum value is a deterrent normally. So normally you actually prefer them paying per hour or depending on how much time they're spending at that particular day. There will be daily packs. So if somebody wants to play for say 3 hours, so he gets a discounted rate. Those kind of packs are there for a day pack, and we normally encourage that because that gives us a better revenue.
Okay.
So, Vikas, don't you think the cash calculation which you have, calculated to be rupees 10, that's too less? And do you have any idea about your competitors' cash value?
So when it comes to the calculation, is actually based on my history, which I've seen. I have run this for around 6 to 7 years. The only time I actually had to do promotions to get a crowd was during small tournaments, which I actually keep it locally. And it is totally to word of mouth, which actually grows. It is something that actually becomes like a hook to someone. So based on those numbers is what these are actual numbers which I've actually provided you from the history of the working of the outlet.
And don't you think the brick and mortar, business which you are going to start, your land or the rental charges will actually decrease your revenue as you progress further?
No, so
I think
as we go
that's the
ahead,
only deterrent I
so
see over this model.
no, so with this
That's the
model,
only deterrent I see in this model.
yeah, so there are two aspects to this model. Like I said, the vision of the firm is to become a lifestyle firm. All right, it starts off with this because this gives us a base. I can actually tell you all the 10 things I plan, but when you're starting off, you actually focus on one or two things and then you start moving ahead. So when it comes to this particular aspect, over the long run, in 10 years' time, yes, currently the rentals are low, but this model actually was running in Mumbai, which has one of the highest rentals in the country for 6, 7 years. And it was still doing its success. Yes, when you say about the rental part, the rates going up, the profit does decrease to an extent, but not that much to a substantial extent. And because the crowd keeps churning every year, you have students in the area, you have new people who are actually coming, and the older crowd goes. So the flow of crowd and the flow of revenue is consistent. It even increases as people come more
Okay.
aware of it.
One more thing, Vakas, as we have been into multiple other line of business also, you are dealing in some other
Mhm.
you are working in some other portfolios also.
Mhm.
How much focus are you on this particular side of the fundraise and the business model you are building?
Understood. So this particular part is something I'm very passionate about. I actually have a team. I've got my business partner who's actually be doing into this, as well as my younger brother who will actually be coming. They have already helped me with this particular business, and they have actually know how the business entire thing works. I too, when we actually go for the next round of funding, I'll be actually jumping into it totally. So it is just because the initial part when you have to get the product ready and doesn't need much of my involvement. That is the only part where I'm actually going to mentor.
Okay, and you are only raising against equity or debt also?
Sorry?
You are raising right now this round only in exchange of equity or on debt also?
On the exchange of equity.
What is the
Because
valuation?
we have a lot of questions in the chat also. You can read those and answer.
No problem. No. Yeah, somebody was saying something.
Oh, hi, this is Hitesh. I was just asking what is the valuation today?
Mr. Shishir, can you just actually take that part?
Yeah. So valuation is around 2 CR and the ask is about 20 lakh rupees.
All right. Mr. Arvind actually has asked a question, if I may.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions in the chat. You can check all
Yeah.
those.
So Mr. Arvind's question is, what is the valuation expected to go up in the next 3-4 months? The valuation part is something that actually is taken care of by Mr. Shishir and his team. And I would say they are the best people
Yeah, I'll tell.
to actually answer this particular aspect.
Yeah, I will answer that. So we have divided this entire raise. There's a requirement of 1 crore. We have divided that into 3 stages. First stage, we are in taking 20 lakh rupees at a valuation of around 2 crores. Exact valuation sheet will be shared with everyone. Second, with the valuation will go to 4 crores in the next 30 lakh rupees of raise. And then 50 lakh will be raised at around 8 crore valuation. Post 1 year, the valuation should reach 12 crores. This is as per our expectation. So right now it is very, very early because risk is higher. Everything is being set up. And we have valued the startup mostly on all 26 points, but we are betting on the experience of Vakas and his entrepreneurship, the passion that he has. So he knows what to do. He knows how to do. He knows everything about this particular industry.
All right. The next question is from Mr. Venkat. Gaming industry currently in India has more interest towards mobile gaming. Yes, I would agree that, but there is a difference. So if you provide somebody with a vehicle, say a Maruti and a BMW in India, a person will only go for a BMW if he has the finance to afford it. He'll rather stick to a Maruti because that is something is going to be in his range. This is the point. This is the entire idea where I'm actually providing this at an affordable rate. In the end, everyone yearns to go for something a better model. So it comes to gaming also, mobile gaming is something where people are hooked to it for the primary reason that the entry barrier to mobile gaming is less. But people who are into mobile gaming prefer going into console gaming over a period of time. It's a normal psychology. It happens in almost every industry. And that is why this model will actually work better. And when it comes to copying, so I don't mind if they copy. The point is you can copy something which looks successful. But to understand the nitty-gritties and how it works and how it goes further, that is something they'll have to experience it themselves. It is going to take them time. I already have that experience. And if someone is copying, it only improves you in terms of your service provision and how you actually improve the quality of your services. So I believe competition is always welcome.
What is the cost you're looking at for putting up one cafe?
So the cost will vary between around 13 to 15 lakhs depending on the locations.
And what will be the square size of that one cafe minimum?
So it will vary. You are looking at around a carpet area of around 250 square feet, and it can go upwards of 400 carpet. That depends on the area. That depends on what kind of demand and what kind of crowd you have in that particular area. But yes, more or less, these are the range that you normally work in.
So
Where you are
250 square
planning your
feet, if I'm
first
not
cafe?
wrong, you can only have 2 consoles, right? So that players
No.
can play comfortably, right?
Sorry, no. You can have around minimum 6 to 7 consoles, can go upwards of 12 consoles. So if you have
250
seen
square
the
feet?
presentation and the slide number 3, what you saw was there were around 7 consoles on the bottom line. There were 2 consoles on the top, and the other slides also which you saw, you can actually have more. So that was an initial design which I was working with, but we actually have iterated and improved the design. We can actually put in more consoles in the same space.
Where are you planning for to put up your first cafe?
So where or when? Sorry, I didn't get you on that. Where? We are looking to actually start off with Mumbai itself, because Mumbai, the rentals are high. So if that actually revenue area gives you the revenue, any other place in India will actually do well.
2 people have committed already 1 lakh rupees in the direct message.
Okay.
You can keep reading the chat, the common chat, and answer all those questions.
What is the real differentiator besides it being a gaming hub? So the real differentiator besides it's being a gaming hub, initially it starts off as a gaming hub. Yes, that is a fact. But we are also conducting tournaments across the country. So that will be a differentiator. And like I said, the vision of the entity, what I have is to make it into a gaming and esports lifestyle company. So I jump into decor, I jump into hotels, I jump into resorts, and I'm already having the connect in those industry. The discussions are going on in the background, but I need to start off with a base. If I have to run a marathon, I need to first get myself fit for it. Then only I can run a marathon.
Vikas, hi, a couple of queries. Okay.
Yes.
Number one, what is the age target segment that you're targeting? Okay, because the gaming, they would range from early teens to youth to obviously it's a whole range. That is number one. Okay.
Correct.
Number two, when you're talking about 6 to 7 consoles, okay, console also I'm sure there are multiple consoles and multiple games, so cross platform and stuff. So are you PS or Xbox or Y or what, and how is the cross platform you will manage, which games?
All right, so the answering for the first part, the target group, yes, it is from early teens. In my experience, I've actually seen there is no particular age for gaming. So one of the oldest people who used to actually come to my cafe on a regular basis was a person who was 57 years old.
Model was I'm not exactly able to place, but I've seen this model somewhere in one of the malls in Mumbai, but it didn't fly through.
It will not fly through in a mall. It will never fly through in a mall. For the pure reason, the rental in a mall is way too high for it to sustain.
Exactly.
So like I said, the rental in a mall is way too high for it to sustain. The time frame it can operate in a mall is way too low. And you're looking at basically upper middle class and HNI youths, or people who have that kind of disposable income to come and play in a mall. So that is not a place where you actually can do it and give accessibility to people on a mass scale. It will never work in a mall properly. Then it is, for example, if you have visited a mall with time zone, they actually used to have this concept around 2 to 3 consoles at max. But then they used to charge around say 350 to 400 bucks per hour. That was too much. And sorry, I forgot your second part of the question. What was the question? Can you help me out again?
Sorry, Vikas, I lost you there. So first question was, what is the target segment? Second, which gaming consoles or which games, and how will you handle the cross-platform? That was
the idea is to actually focus on one particular console, but depending on the area and the reach, the particular unit will only have a kind of consoles. It will not have a mixed breed, because that will actually increase your cost altogether. It will lower your experience of the gaming. This is something what we have observed. For ideally, I would prefer going for PS5, and I already have the suppliers connect in India as well as abroad when it comes to Dubai and Hong Kong. So those are the ones I'm looking at. When it comes to the target audience, you're basically looking at an age group of teens, say 13 and upwards up to 30, 35. This is a target audience that actually comes and actually plays on a regular basis.
And do you have done any study in terms of your footfalls and timing and peak hours and stuff like that? Because if you're talking about the whole range from 13 to 35, so right from 9th and 10th to a college to a working guy, and an experienced guy. So the whole basically you are covering the entire gaming spectrum.
It is basically the entire thing that comes to me. So when it comes to the footfalls, there is no particular thing that the weekends have a better footfall. There are many people who actually visit after college hours. especially during exam board time. So you might be surprised. I used to have my best month in the month of March, immediately after my boards, not my boards, the students' board exams. The
Yeah.
outlets used to be full. They used to be full for the entire day, for the entire month till Holi. So Holi comes in the month of April around that time, or March end. It was basically, that was the time it used to be totally full. So, and when it comes to peak hours, the peak hours vary. Usually towards late night, you have people who are from the working class and slightly older. They are the ones who normally visit. Then they prefer staying late nights. But during the daytime and late mornings, it is when you have actually students coming. And even there are some who actually used to prefer booking it for night outs and early mornings also. So it varies.
And
it is no specific.
and what is the price point or the pricing structure that you are looking at?
So when it comes to a price point, on an average, an individual will have to pay anywhere between 40 to 45 an hour per unit. But from my point of view, I actually get per 100. Per unit, per hour, I actually earn more than 100. So that is how my pricing structure is different.
Okay. So, can you also share, probably on mail or something, the deck? I kind of joined in late, so I did not get, through the entire thing, and I don't want to take everyone's time. So if you can just probably share as part of the WhatsApp, that will be great.
No problem.
Anything else, then I can try and get in touch with you.
Sure. I think you can get in touch with StartupLanes team and they can actually guide you further on that. So we can connect.
Definitely. So we have the registration data. Vakas will contact everybody.
Sure. Thanks, Vakas. Yeah. Thanks, Shishir. Yeah.
All right.
Please share what you charge to a customer. Please share.
Like I said, the exact pricing structure I would not like to disclose over here. But when I said on an hourly basis, an individual will pay anywhere between 40 to 45. But for me, per unit, I actually get more than 100 per hour. So how that happens, that is something when I'm actually moving forward in individual conversations, I might explain it a bit more.
I can understand that. How you make the 100 rupees, I can understand that. But you charge, I can understand that.
On an hourly basis.
Yes, I totally understand that how you make 100 rupees. The total, the main concern was that how you, as you said that the malls are charging $4 to $5 or $5 hourly. So you definitely targeting less than that. That's my concern.
Yes, the $4 to $5 what you're talking about is the price range that is actually acceptable in US. You cannot have that price range in India. You're looking at around 300, more than 300 rupees an hour. So that is the price range which works for cafes which are in US. And that's why the PC model in US works well. In India, when you actually try to copy it, does not work because you cannot actually have that particular range.
So Vakas, Sumit here.
Yes, Sumit.
When I go to Google and I type video game parlors or gaming parlors, right?
Correct.
Just I list 500 of them, and some of them are showing the PlayStation units as well.
Correct.
And when I go to your profile on the LinkedIn, there's something called Gamers Pride. Right?
Correct.
So it looks like and they have opened the franchisee throughout the country. At least that's what they're claiming at their website.
No, Gamers Pride.
You might know because you know them deeply enough. But what I'm trying to say is, if there are thousands of those parlors already available, while they might not have the gaming console as PlayStations. Correct. Or the sophisticated, how much time does it take for them to everybody would buy 2 or 3 consoles if this catches up?
So yeah, like I said, people can copy the model. That is always going to be there. Any business that flourishes, you can always copy the model. But running is totally different.
No. So my point is those are established players and they are in the nick and corners of the city. They possibly have the PCs today, or they are they have some other gaming thing. So for them, it's just buying the. I'm just trying to understand that for them it will be just buying that PlayStation device and keeping in their shop, which is already established, where the boys and girls are possibly already coming.
True, correct, but it doesn't work that way. So what happens is when you're running a PC gaming unit, your cost of hardware, your cost of gaming, your cost of your infrastructure is different. If I have to give you an example, PCs require a different kind of internet connection for PC gaming. In consoles, the connection requirement is very different. You have to ensure there is no lag in gaming, otherwise people will not enjoy the experience. And for them to actually shift to this is one thing very difficult. That's why if you see many PC gaming units, they do not actually go full out with console. They only provide one or two, because for them to make the entire shift is going to mean they have to change the entire structure what they are running with. And that actually becomes a big headache when the experience changes. When you make the shift, and if you're not about to provide it in a smooth manner, it is never going to work. So you will always have somebody who will try to copy.
And what about Gamers Pride? Is that the exact model that what you're trying to do here?
Gamers Pride is exactly, but there is an improvement in change in the model. So when I actually was running it, I was running it purely as a localized option. I had to work out a way to ensure that the franchising model, which I actually put out for them, which works. We had to find out ways to ensure quality assurance. We had to find out ways to ensure that there is no revenue loss, and you have to minimize the variance. So that was something, yes, it took me that time to actually understand how to go about it and actually come up with something that actually is scalable and growable.
Yeah, I understand. So there are a lot of learnings that you took from that.
It does take time.
Okay.
It takes time. I don't mind anybody jumping. If somebody jumps into this,
no, it's a good point. It's a good point. But this shows that you have understood that pitfalls. What Gamers Pride might. Yeah. Thanks.
Most welcome.
And I would like to add something here. So generally, what happens is, I'll share my real life example with you. So while I was young, the old days in Agra, I used to play Mortal Kombat 3 at a gaming station, and that was near to a wine shop. So that it was really very, very difficult. I was in class 6. It was really very, very difficult to cope up there, because a lot of people used to come who used to drink, and then they used to play, and then they used to shout in a very abusive language while playing, right? So for us, a student who's in class 6, it was really difficult, and I was always afraid if anybody, but there was no options. Now it has developed a lot. It is a complete ecosystem. It's an environment now. I've seen such kind of game parlors where it's all air conditioned, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good people all around. So it has become, it's a religion now. So this is point one. Another thing that I wanted to tell here is, first mover advantage is something that never comes up in technology side or when you talk about startups. So it's always easy to disrupt the leader. So what the other competitor has already created the market. Now it's the time to disrupt that market. Over to you. Back to you, Vikas.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shishir.
Just one question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mr. Krish, tell me.
Yeah, I've seen your cafe. I think so. It's beautiful. Number one.
Thank you very much.
Kargar. This is a wonderful concept. Just one query I had. Are these consoles available on rent? Just a thought process.
No, I had actually tried the model. There is a issue with that particular model, especially in a country like India. The security concerns are always going to be there if you're going to provide it on rent to people to play at homes. So that is not something I'm actually into it. That is not a model I would actually encourage anyone to go with.
No, that's fine, because basically there's one thing that young star would like to get together and play and shout and eat and make merry. And
yes.
It is an addiction. If they get addicted to it, definitely it's like, madhumakhi aayenge or madhu hai tum aayenge. Isme koi shak nahi hai.
And other than the addiction, the career growths in this particular field are huge, sir.
Yeah. Addiction is more important for business.
It's a hook. I would not say it's an addiction.
Yeah.
So firstly, now there is this whole startups which are doing cloud gaming, right? Streaming,
correct.
Cloud streaming services,
yes.
right? The gaming project is one which is there. So I mean, how is that vis-a-vis your this thing? Do people actually prefer to go physically and log on to consoles, whereas on cloud streaming they can log in from their homes and play?
So when it comes to cloud gaming, it's not on consoles, it's basically done on PCs.
Yes.
So you have one particular server which will have all the games together, and you have PCs in the particular area. It normally is something people are trying. The biggest issue with that is lag. Okay, the response time when it comes to the game part, it actually is difficult. Plus, at the same time, the licensing for the particular games, it varies. So the popular games which are there in that particular field, the licensing issue is there. The cloud gaming concept is okay for somebody in a community or maybe at home. They want to try it out with very low cost, but it doesn't pick up in its current environment for the pure reason that when the gaming experience comes, obviously, once you have a distance between your processor and your screen, there is going to be a lag. So no matter how fast your computer is, there is always going to be a lag. So that is a major issue with cloud gaming. And when it comes to this, consoles, they have a subscription model where they play online, but then it's not exactly, it's similar to cloud gaming in concept, but it's a bit different.
Okay, when are you planning to jump full-time into this?
Full-time after this thing, the second round of funding.
What is the timeline there? When is it?
So we are looking at basically around 4 to 7 months, that time frame. So by then we'll have our outlets ready. We'll have around the first customers on our phase 2 part ready, and that's when I'm jumping totally into it.
So 3 months we have planned for this 20 lakh rupees deployment, and before 3 months we'll be having another round of funding at a 2 times valuation.
I see. Okay.
Vakas, Anuj here.
Yeah, Anuj.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about, I think you also showed some photos about having a console at home, right? I mean, probably have a bedroom or something set up with the console.
Yes.
So are you also getting into setting it up as a lifestyle option for people, or it
In
is only
future,
that
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the plan. So as we go ahead, that is one of the plans to actually get into that segment as well.
Yeah, because going out and doing it may not be feasible for everyone. But
no,
if there's option
exactly.
to
You're going to
yeah.
target HNI clients or high net individuals who actually have the space as well as the funds to actually do it. So it's particularly for them. It's not going to be exactly for the masses on that particular aspect, but yes, it is going to be that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, Vakas. Harsh here.
Yeah, Harsh.
Firstly, great concept. I had a question, which is, let's say if we have PS5 right now in all your franchisees, but let's say PS6 comes up in 6 months or
6
PS7
months
comes up.
So the product life
let's say
cycle.
Every new year there's a new console which is coming out. So what would be
So I'd like to correct you on this, but I'll listen to your question totally.
Yeah, that's what my question was, is like, what if in future, every year a new consoles come out, and how easy it is to, for the franchisees to get the entire, space changed with the new consoles, because youngsters would prefer the new thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Harsh, with regard to this, if you see the life cycle of consoles, the parent companies, Sony and even Microsoft, are not going to actually release a new console unless it's a generation jump. Firstly. Secondly, the product life cycle varies anywhere between 8 to 12 years for any console. So even PS2 had a duration, PS3 had around 10 years before they actually were taken off the market. PS4 got around 9 years and is expected to go another 2 years before they actually go off it. The reason for that is they need to leverage what they've created in the market and get the product. So when the jump comes on the next generation, it actually is more than a decade later when they jump. By then, you already have franchises which have recovered their expenses, which have recovered, they can actually be already prepared for the upgrade. And personally, I feel over the next 15 years, there's going to be a total jump into some other category, but it's going to take some time.
Okay. Fair enough. So, thanks, Vakas. That was my question. Yeah.
You can continue with the questions in the comments.
Yes. Still pandemic thing is going on. Parents will not allow them to go and play. How will we bring them to the cafe? That's the beauty of it. If I have to tell this, like Mr. Weber has asked over here, the pandemic might be going on, but parents are actually allowing your kids to go. And it's not just the kids. People are actually going to offices. So it's opening up. But one of the, like I said, the model for revenue is through operations of the gaming cafes. The other part is to tournaments. Tournaments are something that are going to be conducted online. So people can either come at console outlets to play it. They can actually do it from the home. So it actually covers up in case we have a future pandemic in the process. So I think that takes care of. And right now, actually, the thought process is changing. People are actually frustrated staying at home. They would either prefer going out. How you charge the customer, I explained that part. The revenue, that is explained. 10% dilution, yeah, okay. May I know how much amount is invested by founder? This is an idea stage part, but then personally, when I actually started, I already had invested around 27 lakhs in 2 outlets, which was run over 7 years. So that is how it was. What is the exit process after 4 months if someone wants to come out of this investment? The exit process will be in the next round of available to investors in the next round of funding. And more detail can be given by StartupLanes and Mr. Shishir on that. The cloud gaming question, we actually already answered that. Mr. Krish, I think, had asked the question. What the license fee and this thing. There are no exact license fee in this. There are some other requirements regulatory when you run a store outlet. You need around 17 plus NOCs and licenses, but I know of them and it's easier to get once you know what to do.
Actually, Mohsin is asking what's your current revenue. So this is an idea stage.
It's an idea stage. Had you asked me that 4 years back, I would have given you a very different answer. How are you planning to expand the franchise model? So I'll just give you a gist of it. So right now, like you say, Gamers Pride. If you actually Google for a website called as gamerspride.in, that is a website which is half done. It is something I just made it temporarily just to see the feel and a bit of the market. And on that, when you see the website is not actually ready. But I'm actually still getting leads for franchises on that particular website. So the demand for this particular thing is huge. Without doing anything, I'm actually getting the leads. The only thing is before going ahead, I need to have my base ready. So that is the model it actually can grow. So branding revenue, I basically need a specific question. I can't exactly answer that. Minimum investment in this, I think that StartupLanes can actually answer on that.
So we have kept for idea stage, we have kept 50,000 only. So that's the investment.
How about the options? So this, okay, Mr. Sagar is asking how about the options of pausing the game for next time due to time constraints. So this is like something you're telling somebody, okay, fine, you're going to watch a movie and you pause the movie and you come and watch again. That doesn't happen. So you are coming, you actually decide on a time frame you want to play based on the number of units that you have, and then you actually move forward. So that is an operational part when it comes to running the outlets. Uh, 1 minute elevator pitch. Okay, I think it's a direct message I've got. Mr. Arnav wants in 1 minute elevator pitch. The idea is consoles are actually saying they have a high entry barrier when it comes to affordability, and not everybody in India can actually afford it. The concept over here is to make consoles affordable and accessible to everyone so they can enjoy the gaming experience at a fraction of the price. And at the same time, the vision of the firm is to become a gaming and esports lifestyle event. I think the valuation part again, StartupLanes and Mr. Shishi, they can actually guide you on that, how it came. And your current revenue, this is an idea stage, so the question is not exactly relevant. I see Mr. Harsh has raised his hand, so yeah, Harsh. Hello.
All right, so we are bang on time. This we will be closing the session at 8 o'clock. Anybody has questions, please go ahead. We still have 5 more minutes.
Shishirji, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Vikas. This is Shubhit.
Hi, Shubhit.
Hi. So basically, I have a question. Plus, I want to have a clarity on your thoughts.
Okay.
Firstly, I want to congratulate because the theme, the set and the business what you have planned is something very different and something very unique.
Thank you.
This country requires it a lot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the company's name, but they have signed a contract with Shah Rukh Khan as a brand ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
The app name is called Chalo Saath Khele.
Okay.
Right. They have claimed it that they start from Mumbai, then they cover the entire countries, and starting from India, then they cover Middle East and everywhere. Mm-hmm. So they are looking for those people who are on this idea stage, and they have got something which they really have to have the success background with them. So I just really want to understand and know it from you if they come to you, because the idea what you have, the portion what you have, and like the system which you have created, like for the console thing, similar to 95% with them, right? You are
Okay.
from also the same city, they are also from the same city.
Okay.
They have got the power with them, because like they have signed the contract with Shah Rukh Khan. He is a brand, right? They have already named it Chalo Saath Khele. Somebody from somebody in LinkedIn, like he has shared that. So I just want to understand, if they come to you, would you like to sell out your proposition, or would you be like kind of a thing wherein like you keep standing in front of them? How you compete? Like I just really want to understand this first.
So it will actually depend on the proposition as a total part. I have not seen the proposition what they're going at. They have named it Chalo Saath Khele, but it can mean in anything. It can be in a particular segment. It can be a physical experience part. It can be something else into a virtual experience part. So I need to first see it. And frankly speaking, my vision is to make this into something. I do not want to just get the opportunity and jump out of it. I would rather stand my ground on this. So I'm that sure of this.
That's great. Congratulations for you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, Vakas. This is Manish here.
Yeah, Manish.
I just wanted to understand now the online tournament that you are referring to. Do you call it as a game of skill, or does it kind of cross the line of gambling? And is there a restriction in terms of age group as to who's entitled to play the online tournament?
No. So when it comes to the online part, the definition currently is vague when it comes to the laws in the country. So right now, if you might have noticed, Karnataka government was banning games of skills as well. So the High Court has actually overturned the ban. What tournaments we are looking at are purely games of skills. They are considered games of skills when it comes to online. When it comes to something like, say, Rummy, okay, where the AI determines what card comes or anything on those lines, that is a game of chance. So that comes into the gambling aspect. You're gambling on something which is a chance, which is totally determined by AI. You do not exactly have enough control over it. Now, when it comes to the control part, it has to be a particular percentage. If I'm not mistaken, you have to be able to control around 80% of your actions and the results accordingly. That is what the definition actually applies to when it comes to games of skills. Well, I have to see the legal part for it. As far as I know very well, it comes under games of skills in this. And it doesn't come into games of chance.
I'm just not into gaming, but I was just referring to some article which alluded to the fact that there is an ongoing litigation in Maharashtra itself where the Aurangabad High Court is hearing it. And this was as latest as 18th of Jan 2022, where they have gone back to the state government and asked the state government to make a submission as to what their stance is in terms of considering online gaming as a game of skill or a game, or does it fall within the Bombay Prevention of Gambling Act. So I just wanted to have a better clarity on that.
No, so even that,
if the matter is sub judice, it all depends upon what the government goes and make a submission to the Aurangabad High Court.
So agreed, but there is already a Karnataka High Court which has given that particular judgment. So Aurangabad High Court will have to refer and be consistent.
No, online gaming is a state subject.
No, agreed.
It's very clear. Online gaming is a state subject.
Yeah, but sir, online gaming doesn't exactly have a physical location. It can be conducted from anywhere.
Actually, Manish is trying to understand how is it different from gambling, because I've also checked Chalo Saath Khele. It is more of a gambling. Most of the gambling players, they try to pretend to be a gaming player and include.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So how would you differentiate this business so that this does not become or get into the category of gambling?
So when it comes to this particular business, the games that are there, they are recognized worldwide in esports tournaments. They're actually played as games of skills. When you conduct those tournaments, yes, there are limited purpose games in this particular category where esports tournaments are conducted. So that is how you differentiate. Unfortunately, the games of chances which actually want to present themselves in this, you have things like I said, Rummy, and there are other places where the AI comes into the factor. When I say the AI, your next card depends totally on what the computer decides. That's a game of chance. But then when you're actually using a control or a console and you're actually giving a command, that the command is for the particular player or the unit to move forward, and it actually moves forward, you're using your skills to actually do it. So it is very different from the game of chances. So that is how it differentiates. And when it comes to a tournament, there's select category of tournaments which are actually conducted. Say, example, chess. It's not a game of chance; it's a game of skill. That is a very clear understanding which everyone has, because as it is, when you give the command, you want to move it from one particular place, one particular point on chessboard to another. It is basically you're directing, and the command is followed to the core. Same way, these games actually, when the command is followed to the core and the result comes according to that, they are all game of skills. When it comes to game of chance, it's different. There are some factors which are outside the control of the player. Once those come into the picture, then it becomes a game of chance.
So Vakas, hi, Girish here again.
Yeah,
so this proposition again, is it getting heavy on the tournament or getting heavy on the gaming at a place? Because so that is one. Okay, the reason is this will leads to my next thing, which is when you talk about a tournament. Okay, now there are literally hundreds and thousands of games. Even if you take just PS5, right? So, for example, while the total, the audience that you have may be decent, let's say, okay, just for argument's sake, let's say 100, okay, but those 100 will be split across 50 games, 30 games, right? So each game per se will have only 2%, 5%, or probably, the 80-20% goes. 80%. So even the most popular of the game, let's say the Minecraft or Assassin's Creed or whatever, as even Fortnite, the population per game when you have a competition, it will be very narrow. So won't that that is why I said the first question. What are you heavy leaning on? More on the gaming tournaments or the gaming parlor?
Okay, so now the parlor part, it is actually a fixed source of revenue which goes on a monthly basis in terms of operation. The tournament actually expands your revenue source and actually gives you coverage across India. So it's not going to be like every month. It's basically quarter to quarter, depending on how you actually structure it. That is what is going to be tournaments. Now, the second part of your question, which you said, depending on the games. So it doesn't work in this particular manner that there are 100 games and all 100 games will have tournaments. That way we have almost 100 sports, but not all 100 sports are played in India. It are limited sports where actually people play and enjoy it. Same way it goes for gaming. So there are limited particular games where actually tournaments are conducted and can be conducted. Assassin's Creed, you cannot exactly have a tournament. It is a lifestyle, a story mode game which you actually play and you go to different levels. So if you would have, anybody might have known the Uncharted movie, which came out right now of Tom Holland. That actually is based on a game which is exclusive to, which was exclusive earlier, but now I think it's there on another platform. That is Uncharted, the game itself. So it's a story mode game which actually takes you to different levels and you actually go ahead and then you basically succeed at the end of the story. Conducting a tournament on that is impossible unless you actually have a tournament where you say whoever finishes the story at the fastest, but nobody does those things. So
no, I mean, that was more from an example point of view. What I meant is even the competitive, there will be enough and more games. So how are you going to then, choose which one's popularity or what? Is
yeah,
that
it
the
will
one?
depend on the popularity. So the games which are popular and where the tournament is normally conducted, both India and globally, those are the games you're going to look at. So games like Call of Duty, FIFA, these are very popular, especially when it comes to consoles and PCs. They are very popular. You also have Rainbow Siege. Then you have other games like Dota 2. So these games which are popular and actually played in tournaments, these are the games you're actually going to conduct tournaments in, not every other game which is there in the market. Mr. Vikas Langde has asked, purpose is entertainment only or does it include some learning also? The initial part is entertainment and to have a good time. You're actually looking to hang out. You're actually looking to enjoy the experience. But as you go through it, it actually opens up avenues for learning. It opens up avenues for careers. People can actually stream and actually earn income. They can actually generate revenue also while they're streaming. So that is something which is done by a lot of gamers. Even many influencers right now, they do create content, but one of the main sources of content creation for them is through gaming. Carrie Minati, for example, he has two accounts. One is where he actually roasts people. The other one is where he actually plays games and people actually donate and he earns revenue from them. So the opportunities open up quite a bit when you start off with this. How will you differentiate some local fellow opening up a similar cafe with value add such as coaching or etc.? Okay, so like I said, once you actually start your business, any business, once people see that it is being successful, they do tend to copy it. So locals, basically localized competition is always going to come up. Now, if they are giving value add, it only encourages you to improve your services. That is how you ensure your service quality is better. The only difference is for them, they need to first learn the nitty-gritties of the business before they actually can implement something successfully. It is a big rare shot if somebody is going to do it at the first go itself. Even if they know gaming well, if they are very thorough with PC gaming, for example, for them to also even shift onto console is going to be very difficult. And once they do, they'll actually understand how it works, what are the issues. It might be actually total disaster if they try it that way. So you have to be very careful when you jump into it. And it is something, as like I said, as we grow, we actually do tend to provide different parts, different aspects where you actually grow the business and grow the services. So this is something, if the person is competing on those lines, is only going to help us ensure that we actually improve our services. That is how it should be for every business. So if you have, like, to give an example, you have telecom operators. Now, just because there are three, people will actually go to a telecom operator who gives a better service. So in the end, yes, you might have, but the one who provides a better service, better rates, they are the ones who are going to succeed and continue for long.
All right, thank you, Vikas.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we have to bring this to an end. Would you like to thank the audience?
Yes, I would actually like to thank the audience for taking the time out and coming and listening to me. And thank you to StartupLanes for giving me this opportunity. And if you have anything, questions or further, you can actually always let me know, and I would be glad to actually answer them.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.